Have you ever noticed that right before life shifts in a major way, things often feel unbearable? The silence grows heavy, resistance sharpens, the weight presses harder than ever. Most people mistake this as failure, or punishment, or proof they are not meant to go further. But what if this pain is not the end, but the beginning? What if the storm itself is a sign that you are standing at the edge of a breakthrough? The Stoics knew this truth well. Marcus Aurelius once wrote, "The impediment to action advances action. What stands in the way becomes the way." Your obstacles are not accidents. They are the forge. They are the preparation. So in this video, we will explore 6 signs you are standing in the final stage before transformation. Not 5, 6. Because I want to add one more sign from my own journey, something I believe is essential and often overlooked. Let's begin. Sign 1, the crushing weight before the breakthrough. There is always a stage of heaviness before something new is born. It feels like the world itself is pressing against you. Your body grows tired, your thoughts feel clouded, every step feels heavier than the one before. Most people interpret this weight as punishment. They think, maybe this is a sign I should stop. Maybe I'm not good enough. But the truth is, this heaviness is proof you are close. Think of the archer. The bow must be drawn back to its limit before the arrow is released forward. The greater the tension, the farther the arrow will fly. The weight you feel is the stretching of your soul, preparing you for the leap ahead. Seneca reminded us, fire tests gold, adversity tests the brave. This stage of heaviness is not meant to break you, it is meant to harden you, to prepare you for the exact future you've been asking for. When I look at my own life, I see this pattern clearly. Before every growth, whether starting something new, leaving behind an old habit, or stepping into a challenge, I felt this weight. And each time I mistook it for failure, when in reality it was training. If you feel this heaviness now, don't curse it. Recognize it, endure it, because it means the release is close. Sign 2, the hidden silence before transformation. Before every great change, there comes a silence. Not a peaceful silence, but a heavy, suffocating one. It feels like the universe has turned its back on you. Prayers vanish into emptiness. No one answers. No one applauds. No one notices. Most people mistake this silence for abandonment. They think they've been left behind. But the Stoics remind us it is not abandonment. It is preparation. Epictetus once said, "If you want to improve, be content to be thought foolish and stupid." That's the silence. The world no longer validates you. The crowd no longer cheers for you. And so you are left with the only voice that matters, your own reason. This silence tests you more than noise ever could. Because in silence, your fears grow louder. Your doubts return. Old habits whisper. Without distraction, you face yourself exactly as you are. Marcus Aurelius observed, "Know where you can go is more peaceful than your own soul." Yet most of us never enter that place willingly. Life pushes us into it by stripping away the noise. I've felt this silence many times. Moments when no one seemed to care about what I was doing, when nothing outside gave me a sign of progress. It's painful, yes. But in hindsight, those were the exact moments when I discovered the strength of my inner citadel. Silence is not a void, it's a womb. It is in silence that roots grow deep before the tree emerges. It is in silence that we are stripped of illusions and trained for resilience. So when silence comes, don't mistake it for failure. It is not the end, it is the threshold. Sign 3, the trial of resistance before the breakthrough. There is a paradox every seeker encounters. Just before the breakthrough, resistance grows fiercest. It feels as if life itself rises up against you, testing whether you are truly ready for what lies ahead. Marcus Aurelius once wrote, "The impediment to action advances action. What stands in the way becomes the way." The Stoics saw obstacles not as roadblocks, but as training grounds. The resistance you feel is not there to stop you. It is there to shape you. Think of the soldier before battle. His training is complete, but in the hours before combat, his fear is loudest. The mind whispers, turn back. It's too much. But this is not weakness. This is the trial. The universe is asking, will you stand even when every force inside tells you to quit? We too face these trials. When you're about to grow in discipline, temptation intensifies. When you're close to mastery, distractions multiply. When you're about to rise, doubts scream louder. Epictetus warned, no man is free who is not master of himself. And this is where mastery is tested, not in comfort, but in the fire of resistance. Consider the seed beneath the soil. For months it lies hidden, unseen, but just before it breaks through the surface, the soil resists with its greatest weight. If it endures, it emerges into light. If it gives up, it dies in darkness. The same is true for us. The heaviness you feel, the walls closing in, the endless obstacles. These are not signs of failure. They are signs of nearness. You are closer than you realize. But here lies the danger. Most people quit at this very stage. They interpret resistance as rejection. They walk away just before dawn. The Stoics would call this a failure of perception. Seneca said, "It is not that we have a short time to live, but that we waste much of it." We waste it when we let resistance dictate our choices. So how do we endure? By reframing resistance, not as punishment, but as initiation. It is proof that transformation is near. Like the blacksmith's hammer striking iron, each blow that feels unbearable is shaping you, purifying you. Resistance is not your enemy, it is your anointing. Sign 4, the silence before the storm. There is a peculiar stillness that arrives just before change. Life once filled with noise and motion suddenly goes quiet. Friends drift away, opportunities dry up, pleasures lose their taste, and you are left standing in silence, uncertain. Most people see this as abandonment. They think life has betrayed them. But the wise recognize this silence for what it is, the final preparation before the storm of breakthrough. Marcus Aurelius reminded himself, never let the future disturb you. You will meet it with the same weapons of reason which arm you today. In silence, those weapons are sharpened. The noise of the world fades, and the one enemy you cannot avoid emerges. You. This silence is medicine, not punishment. Epictetus said, difficulties show what men are. And silence is one of the deepest difficulties, because stripped of distraction, stripped of applause, stripped of motion, you see yourself as you truly are. Many fear this stage. They rush to fill the silence with entertainment, indulgence, distractions. They never allow the bowstring to be drawn back, never feel the tension, and so they never release the arrow. Their lives remain shallow, untested. But for those willing to endure, silence becomes sacred. It is the crucible where self-mastery is forged. It is the moment when destructive impulses rise, fear, anger, lust, despair, and you must face them without escape. I've learned that silence is not absence. It is preparation. It is the pause before the arrow flies, the stillness before the storm breaks. And though it feels endless, it is not eternal. When the storm comes, when the doors open, you will realize the silence was never empty. It was filled with unseen work, the sharpening of your soul, the tempering of your will. Seneca once said, "No man is more unhappy than he who never faces adversity, for he is not permitted to prove himself." The silence before the storm is adversity of the purest kind. If you endure it, you prove yourself ready. Sign 5, the wait before release. Just before change arrives, life often feels heavier. Your body slows down, your mind is clouded. Even after rest, you wake up tired. The air itself feels thicker. Every step takes more effort than it should. Most people see this heaviness as failure. They think they are collapsing. But those who understand life's hidden rhythms know the truth. This is the final weight before release. Epictetus once wrote, "The greater the difficulty, the more glory in surmounting it." Skillful pilots gain their reputation from storms and tempests. The heaviness you feel is not punishment, it is training. Like an athlete who loads their muscles before the leap, the tension is what creates the launch. Think of a bow being drawn. The string stretches back, the wood bends under pressure. It feels like it cannot hold another ounce of strain. And then comes release. The arrow flies farther than it ever could without that weight. Life works the same way. The more powerful the transformation ahead, the greater the weight beforehand. But here's the danger. Many give up at this very stage. They let the heaviness convince them to quit. They release the bowstring too early, and the arrow falls weakly to the ground. Their breakthrough was near, but endurance failed. Seneca warned, "It is not that we have a short time to live, but that we waste a lot of it." And much is wasted in complaint and despair during this stage. The wise see it differently. They use the weight to sharpen endurance. They see heaviness as proof that strength is being forged. Like the blacksmith hammering steel again and again, each blow is exhausting, but without it, the metal remains weak. Only through repeated pressure does it gain strength. So too with us. The blows of life do not destroy us. They forge us. The paradox is this: heaviness comes when you are closest. Just when the doors are about to open, the burden feels unbearable. Why? Because the breakthrough requires a stronger version of you. The weight is not rejection, it is preparation. If you feel this heaviness now, do not despair. It means you are being stretched beyond what you thought possible. And when the release comes, you will realize it was the weight that gave you wings. Sign 6, the clarity that follows confusion. One of the most overlooked signs that you are near a breakthrough is confusion. The mind feels clouded, questions multiply, certainties collapse. You wonder if you've taken the wrong path. You second-guess everything. At first, confusion feels like failure, but I've learned it is not failure. It is the clearing away of illusions. The Stoics remind us, we are not disturbed by things, but by the opinions we hold about them. Confusion is what happens when those opinions begin to break apart. When the old frameworks you relied on no longer serve you. When the world you thought you knew begins to fall silent. And here lies the gift. After confusion, clarity comes. Not borrowed clarity from others, not superficial certainty, but clarity born from wrestling with doubt and emerging stronger. I've lived this stage many times. Moments when I thought I was lost, when everything I believed was crumbling. And yet those very seasons were the ones that gave me new vision. The fog was not the end, it was the beginning of seeing differently. Marcus Aurelius often wrote about how chaos and order are interwoven. The storm clears the sky, the wound clears the illusion of invincibility, and confusion clears the mind of false beliefs so that truth can finally take root. The clarity that follows confusion is often quiet but undeniable. It is the sudden realization that you are stronger than you thought, that the doubts were teachers, not enemies, that the path forward is not perfect, but it is yours. So if you feel lost, uncertain, or overwhelmed with questions, know this: confusion itself is a sign. It means your old self is dissolving and a new one is about to emerge. The Stoics would call this the work of reason sharpening itself. I call it the moment when the fog lifts and the path finally reveals itself. Clarity is not the absence of confusion. It is what is born when you endure it without running away. Remember this: storms, silence, resistance, and even confusion are not signs of your weakness. They are the proof of your becoming. Do not curse them, endure them, because on the other side of what feels unbearable, you will not just find a breakthrough, you will find yourself.